You make time for what is important to you.
Yep.
You make the time. We all have plenty of time in our days, and the excuses that people are too busy or kids or all that stuff, they are absolutely excuses, because if your spouse and your marriage is a priority to you, you will find time to serve each other. You just will.
Well, welcome to Pillow Talk. I'm Grant. This is my wife, Stephanie. And after almost 38 years of marriage, we've discovered how to communicate for better understanding and yoke our differences to pull stronger toward a common purpose.
As certified marriage coaches, we want to help reignite passion and connectedness in your marriage through intimate, authentic, and unguarded conversations. Now let's have some pillow talk.
Let's do it.
All right. Welcome to Pillow Talk. Today is a very special day for us. One, because we've always done this mano a mano.
I know.
And so this is our very first interview. And not only is our first interview, it's with what I believe is a very special guest.
Yeah, very impactful couple.
If I was going through and I listen to a lot of marriage podcasts, you guys are number one.
Aww.
They are the creators, owners, and Ultimate Brand app, podcast, and the brand. And their mission is to help people find ultimate intimacy in their relationship. So we want to welcome Nick and Amy to Pillow Talk.
Yeah, welcome, guys.
Thank you so much for having us. It's an absolute pleasure to be here.
Oh man, this is such a privilege, and so we're just looking forward to the conversation we're going to have, and we know that it's going to touch people, and that's what matters. It's helping marriages.
Mm-hmm.
We are kind of in a helping people work towards the empty nest, but we believe that starts at I do.
Yeah,
agreed.
I remember there's a song when I was a kid that said that when you're born, you start dying that day. And I kind of feel like it's the same way in marriage. You know, you start working towards the end from day one. And if you don't, the end can be very rough. So just again, it's a privilege to meet you. And I'd like for you just to start off by, tell us about yourself.
Well, if you want to lead us off, I do want to just say before, I really love what you said. And because Amy and I talk about all the time, like we're already talking and preparing for, our next stage, right? Like everything we do is to say, how do we have a better life, a better marriage for, the later years. So I totally agree with what you're saying, that preparation starts, pretty much when you're born, right?
Right.
So.
Yeah, so we're Nick and Amy. We have been married 20 years this year, and we have 4 kids.
That's 3 dogs.
3 dogs. We're a little crazy. We just love helping marriages. If you've listened to us at all, I think my motto is that marriage should not be mediocre. Mm-hmm. I just feel like when we say I do, we not expect, but we hope that we can have an amazing marriage. And that means passionate, romantic, sexual, amazing communication. And like all those things take so much work. And I just believe that if both people are willing to put that work in, it truly can be an amazing, amazing experience.
Yeah. And our marriage has not always been, just perfect and good. We've gone through some really hard trials and struggles, but I think those trials and struggles have made us a lot stronger in our relationship and more committed to each other. And I think it also allows us to share our experiences with other people and be able to connect with them, because we truly have gone through some very difficult things. And we know a lot of other people are, going through things in their relationships as well. So we just, like Amy said, we just absolutely love helping marriages. This is not the line of work that we've been in our whole life, but, God has a way of kind of directing a path or pushing you a certain way, so to speak. And, here we are. I mean, we've kind of quit everything else we're doing, and we focus all our full time and attention on working together and helping marriages. So
fantastic. One thing I've probably listened to 40 or 50 of your podcasts in the last 2 weeks. And, it's like this is good stuff.
He was binging.
But I was really curious, what got you started down that path of saying, I want to help marriages? I mean, it's one thing to help yourself, but it's another thing to say, now I want to go out and help others.
Well, especially in this arena, right? This is not something that you're just like, oh yeah, let me show you how we do a date night. This is intimacy, which has such a connotation for most people that is so shallow. And I feel like with your app, you dive into that so deep. It's such a great tool. So that's, how did you start to see that and see this is exactly how we want to help marriages in this very unique space?
I'll let Amy answer that because it's kind of her story, and then I kind of jumped on board. So
we were going through some pretty big financial trials, which can really tear couples apart. I know a lot of people like going through that. It was about year 15, and I had taken on all the financial load for the family. I had 4 little kids at home. Like, life was just crazy, and I felt like I was kind of doing everything, and he was working on stuff, but we just started to disconnect and have some real big communication issues is kind of where it began. And I started realizing, I've always been like a sexually healthy person, but I started realizing that I wasn't wanting it or craving him like he was, and I started to think that I was broken. And after a lot of conversation and probably a lot of tears and disconnect, when we started opening up and being super, super vulnerable with each other, I realized I was lacking in that area because we were lacking in the emotional intimacy. And that's kind of the time frame where we decided to launch the app, we kind of build it for ourselves.
Yeah.
And the things that we realized were working in our marriage. And we also wanted people to, learn how to communicate better, learn how to enjoy the bedroom better. I mean, they all go hand in hand, all those different areas of intimacy. So we named it Ultimate Intimacy and launched it, and it transformed our marriage, like seriously. And then we realized it was helping so many other couples that we decided this is our new passion in life. Like the emails and all the hundreds of comments and people that we were getting responses from, it was overwhelming. And we just realized this is what makes us happy. We just want to help save couples and bring that, fulfillment back to their marriages.
Yeah, and I don't want to say it happened by accident, but like Amy said, it's one of those things where like, wow, this is really helping us. We should build an app, and if it can help anyone else, great. And had no idea or expectations of what would happen. And so we just said, let's build an app. We'll throw it out there, and if it helps a couple people, great. But we, like Amy said, we kind of build it based upon our relationship, and it just exploded. And we're like, wow, this is like, it's crazy. It just, we didn't realize how many people out there needed something like this. Number one. Number two, more importantly, a place that's, safe and clean, where you aren't going to get on Google and worry about what you see, a safe space for people to go to, which was very important to us. And it just kind of exploded. And so here we are. We're like, all right, we got a decision to make. What direction do we go? And we felt like this kind of was our calling, so to speak. And so this is what we're doing full time and doing together. And like I said, it's just more so about sharing our experiences of what we've gone through and how it's completely transformed our relationship and marriage. And, hopefully people can hear that and hear experiences we've had in a lot of these different areas, and something can click and help them as well. So.
And that's great. It makes me want to go in about 13 different directions. But one thing you brought up and multiple times, and as a man, I just can't imagine this conversation, but it's the I'm bored. So could you expound a little bit on that?
This is a funny story. We'll give the two versions, but it was actually Amy that was bored, and she came to me, and at first I was a little bit, I guess, offended. I'm like, wait, am I not good enough?
Stepping back, I just surprised him one day with a bedroom game that I bought online. It was appropriate, but it was like trying some stuff. We were, how do you say it? Like we had just gotten kind of in a routine. Yeah. Like we weren't like super into like trying anything new, I guess. And I bought a bedroom game, surprised him. He was kind of like, wait, kind of got offended a little bit.
Well, and so let me explain, because a lot of people could relate to this. So it was kind of like, well, wait, am I not good enough, or what's going on? And then number two, I think deep down I was a little bit worried, like, okay, if I start doing things maybe outside my box or trying new things, and is that going to maybe make me go down different paths or different roads that I was maybe worried about going down to? And maybe that may sound silly, but I mean, just I think for a lot of people, you open up maybe a box and then all of a sudden you're, going down a different road. And obviously that was a ridiculous thing, but,
it's okay. As a Christian, you're not, that was our whole problem is we both grew up Christian. We weren't taught anything. We didn't discuss it. It
was just a taboo topic.
It was a totally taboo topic. And a lot of people are suffering with this. So it's like, well, I don't know if I'm like, we're against pornography. We're against, getting on the internet. Like, how do you learn? How do you learn how to
in a safe
place? How do you find out anything about sexual intimacy without seeing stuff you don't want to see? So it was kind of like we were stuck in a rut, but we didn't know where to go. And so not only did trying something new in the bedroom open up some fun, but it opened up conversations that we had never had. And when we started talking about this hard topic, which a lot of people struggle with, we could talk about anything. And that's where the marriage changed, is because we started ripping off that Band-Aid of these hard topics and started talking about everything and anything. And that was transforming for us.
Yeah. We literally in our relationship could talk about anything. And I think a lot of it was, if you can talk about sexual intimacy, geez, you're pretty vulnerable with that talking about that,
That's for sure. I'll never forget our first conversation. We're driving to Colorado and my hands are sweating gotta bring something up. And it was just like, oh dear God, what are we going to do? If she says something like, you're full of
pull over, I'm getting out.
Yeah, I'm getting out.
Well, we love how much that you put so much focus on communication, because that's something that we always talk about, is that, to end frustration, you have to have better communication. And I think what you alluded to, especially in a Christian community, is we love God, we love our spouse. We're not looking to be unfaithful or weird, but yet there's no place for communication that's safe. And so there's that frustration that builds up, right? Because deep inside that you want something deeper with your spouse, but you don't know what that looks like, so you avoid it. And so that's one of the things I love about your app, is that there's conversation starters in there. I love it because it's not just talking about sex. Yeah. It's talking about connecting. Mm-hmm. And that's just fabulous. I love that about your app. And so that is what you just said. If you can begin to have those conversation starters, then you get into more comfortable settings of being able to talk about things in the bedroom, which then you realize, oh, well, God's fine with all this. We're married. He wants us to be deeply fulfilled and satisfied with each other. That's how he created us.
Absolutely.
And I think it's just a great way for couples to wade into that safely and privately. And it's just been, I love it.
Thank you.
Can't say enough about how much I love your app.
Thank you.
I'm curious about, because you brought up the fact, as Christians, and it is a taboo subject, how did the church accept it?
We were a little, how do I say this, maybe a little shy or hesitant at first. Like when we first launched it, we didn't know
what happened.
Yeah, we didn't want people to know who we were, who our family was, different things like that, because we kind of put it out there and we're like, okay, how is this going to be accepted? But it has been amazing.
Everybody loves it. We have pastors and bishops and all different churches and all Christian faiths, just like, this is so needed.
Sharing it with our congregations. We have marriage therapists that we work with that are sharing it with, a lot of their clients and it's been amazing, honestly. And we, I think we're over 500,000 downloads now. We don't have really any negative comments. It's been pretty amazing.
That is amazing, and that's totally shows the gap that was there for that, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think
that to be developed.
Yeah, and I think now, so that we felt comfortable, now obviously our name's out there. We talk about it. We are not scared to share it. We're promoting everything because it's something that's so needed, and we get emails and messages on a daily basis of like, oh, we can't believe how much this has changed our marriage, or thank you for sharing this, or being open, and it's so needed. And amazing.
And you said connecting. I think that's the whole purpose. So we've been throwing some polls out and getting a lot of social media feedback and stuff. People, women, a lot of women are struggling with thinking that sex is a chore, right? It's an excuse. What a lot of women don't realize is that husbands want sexual intimacy because they want to deeply connect with their spouse. They want to prioritize your needs. You just need to be able to talk to them and tell them what you want. I mean, most husbands want you to desire them, initiate with them, and enjoy this with them. And so really, I think that was my message, is that women, like, let your husband, like, connect and have conversations about this, because you can be enjoying it as much as your husband, you know. And
I think what we're finding too is there's barriers that really, as you look at it, you're like, man, these are so easy to break down, and it's keeping couples from really having that ultimate intimacy in their relationship, both, you know, the emotional and the physical. And so, I mean, it really is such little things. And Amy and I really believe that almost any issue or problem can be resolved with good communication. Mm-hmm. And so we really hit upon that and so many people, it's so hard to have those conversations, but teaching people how you can have those conversations, or maybe the best ways to approach those conversations. And really they can be life-changing for a lot of couples.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the approach to that, approach that. It's not this scary space. It's approaching it, knowing how it looks for your unique marriage, and not being afraid to step into that. And then hearing other couples doing that, hearing this, it all of a sudden puts it into space where it's like, okay, we can be free to do this now. We are okay to have this conversation. And it's great. It's just a great space.
One thing I also thought of is when you were talking about, you know, the husband wants to satisfy his wife.
Yeah.
And how the wife so many times is complaining because he's always there, you know, knocking on the door. Here I am again. And part of that is because, one, she says no. Two, she says yes, but she means no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we were just driving to Oklahoma City last night, and it just kind of came out. And I was like, there's a difference between having sex and having sexual intimacy.
Yep.
When you have sex, it leaves you wanting more. When you have sexual intimacy, it leaves you fulfilled. So if you want to slow down, and a man's libido is not going to let him stop, but if you want to slow down, show up.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's always a big thing for us, and finding ways to signal that, hey, I'm showing up tonight. Or tonight I'm here for you, but maybe I'm not showing up to the level that I could. Today was a rough day, right? So it's being available. I feel like as a wife, and I don't know about you, Amy, but I hear so many women use excuses for the fact that they don't have the libido, or they have kids, or I'm in the age where it's menopause and it's and those are all legit. Those are reasons. But let's not make an excuse. Let's find a way to shift and pivot in those seasons, so that I'm not saying, well, too bad for you, because I'm dealing with this. So no, you don't ever get to have sex. We can't be intimate. And so I feel like I want to champion women to say, you know, be engaged with your spouse and have that communication. And that's what this app is great for. But have that communication where you can say, hey, babe, I love you and I love to be with you. Here's where I'm at right now, though. So let's figure out a way where you can be fulfilled, but you also understand the struggle that I'm having, instead of just saying no, like, well, too bad, you know, I can't do it.
Yeah, so
Absolutely.
true.
Yeah, I'm so tired of women making excuses and the man just has to deal with it.
Well, I think, go ahead.
I was just going to say, as a woman, those are valid excuses, but the problem is that they're not going to get the help that they need.
Right.
There's products, there's herbs, there's medicine. I mean, there's ways that if you really want to not have an excuse, you can get help most of the time.
Absolutely.
And that is a huge issue for women. They just, like the kids, whatever. I'm like, we got kids. Everyone, I heard a quote the other day. You make time for what is important to you.
Yep.
You make the time. We all have plenty of time in our days. And the excuses that people are too busy, or kids, or all that stuff, they are absolutely excuses, because if your spouse and your marriage is a priority to you, you will find time to serve each other. You just will.
Well, and I think too, if you look on divorce attorneys' websites, the number one and number two reason for divorce is intimacy issues or lack of intimacy. And number two is infidelity, which a lot of times can be caused because of lack of intimacy. So, you know, for women to disregard and just say, well, I can keep saying no to my husband and it's not going to affect anything is crazy. And I say this, and I really believe this, that, you know, a man needs sexual intimacy to live, just like he needs air and food. And now that women out there are going to roll their eyes and say, well, that's crazy. Of course, your husband's not going to physically die if you don't give it to him, but he will die in the marriage. And the reason why is because that is the way a man feels loved. Whether right or wrong, a man feels loved by his wife wanting to connect with him. And if that's not happening, whether right or wrong, a man is not going to feel loved. And women for the most part, get that through the emotional intimacy, through the communication and things like that. And I mean, that's just the way God made us, right? That's the way we're wired. And so it's so important to, like Amy said, to get on that same page and help women understand that sex to a man is not just about a physical act. Like, it literally is how he feels loved, how he has his self-confidence, how he continues to go every day. And so for women to understand why a man needs what he needs, but also for the men to understand what his wife needs, right? And communicate about that and find that balance. And, like you said, I mean, if it may not be the perfect time, and not to get off subject, but you kind of brought up like just, women saying no or what have you. And even just something as simple as the communication of a woman saying, instead of a woman just continuously saying, no, I don't want to do it, if they could say, you know what, I'm not in the mood tonight, but we could do it Saturday night, or we could do it Sunday night. Then all of a sudden the husband's like, oh, sweet, I got something to look forward to, or, we talk a lot about scheduling as well too, which obviously can also help with this, because if a husband is constantly every night, getting rejected, if a couple schedules it and says, hey, let's put this on the calendar for Saturday night, and it's Wednesday, the wife's probably not going to get bugged until Saturday night, right? So she doesn't have to worry about getting bothered every night. And the husband's, got it on the calendar and like, hey, this is the time for us to be intimate. There's so many simple things that can be done to help couples, find that balance, because it is completely normal in a relationship to have a high desire spouse and a low desire spouse. But happy couples make it work, right? They figure out ways to make it work.
Or what if we can help the women become not the lower desire? What if they actually learn how to enjoy it in the bedroom and teach their husbands what they love and what they need, and whether it's a massage and then it turns into that
Exactly.
That's my whole goal, is like, let's stop with excuses, actually help the women enjoy it so that they want to be intimate, and then they don't have to push it off a few days and act like it's quit bugging me, I mean, that's the whole, I just want to say quick, like,
it's a state of mind.
It's always, we always talk about, it starts in the mind, especially for women. If you're like, I don't like it, I don't want to do it, I don't enjoy it, you've already put in your mind that you hate it, right? And that's hard to change. And if we can change the attitude and our mindset, because I mean, our biggest sex organ is our brain, right? If we can just be like, okay, I want to enjoy it, I want to love it, I want to be intimate with you and love to be intimate with you. It starts right there, because when you change your attitude, that's when you could grow together as a couple, start communicating about it, and really turn it into ultimate intimacy.
Yeah.
I feel.
Yeah.
I love what you said there, Amy, about serving. And I think that's what it comes down to. If we can shift how we think about that, instead of it's duty, it's serving.
Yeah.
And I think that as Christians, that's what, we know that that's our heart. And so when I find myself in those moments, I'm like, well, how can I best serve him here? It's not about me. It's like, how can I serve him? And when I begin to think that way, like you said, my heart for him allows me to be able to present myself in a way that he's fulfilled and gratified. And that usually then it's good for me too, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
If I'm serving him, then I'm not thinking about me. And
but then I will be.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
So no,
your focus then is like, how do I please her? Right.
Yeah. I love it. To serve each other is just such a great, like unusual concept.
And that's what we're missing. That's what we're missing nowadays. Yeah. We become a very selfish society and selfish in marriage. And that's what's happening is your husband probably serves you in so many ways. If this is the way he feels loved, sometimes we need to step up and be like, I'm willing for you, like, because I love you.
Preach it, girl.
Yeah.
Well, I think too often we get, you get a lot of couples that are like just waiting for both to get in the mood. And if you're waiting for that, that's like the stars to align. I mean, it may never happen, or it may happen a year from now or whatever. And I think something that's also really powerful is a lot of times, or often, we think that it's our spouse's job to get us in the mood. It's not. It's our responsibility to get ourselves in the mood, right? It's not my job necessarily to get her in the mood.
Even though you're really good at it.
Yeah, but really it's her job to get herself in the mood, right?
And there's that mental side of it, right?
Yeah.
It's how you view it and getting yourself in that mental space for it. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's very good. I just want to kind of end with the reinforcing on the communication side. I still think that is so vital. I heard a podcast the other day, and the guy said that if you're not ready to talk about sex, you're not ready to have it.
I like it.
That's good.
Now we were a cart before the horse couple. We like to say we were knocked up but not out. But part of that is we were in church every week being told, don't even think about sex. Sex is, that's dirty. Don't do it type stuff. We were very Pentecostal. And it's kind of like don't think about elephants, don't think about their long nose. Don't think about their gray skin. Well, what are you thinking about? And a 16-year-old boy and a 17-year-old, that's what we were thinking about. So needless to say, that's what you ran out and did. And for one thing, you were in rebellion. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Don't tell me what I can't do.
Exactly.
So we want to thank you all. I know we probably ought to wrap this up. We got so much more we'd like to know, but maybe we can do this again someday. And
we'd love to.
Thank you very much for honoring us with your time and presence today on Pillow Talk.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Our pleasure. Yeah, what an honor to be on, and we'd love to do this again for sure.
That would be great. Tell everybody where they can find you again.
You want me to?
Yeah.
So our main website is ultimateintimacy.com. You can find our podcast on there, our products on there. The app is a free download. So go check it out. Conversations, starters, tons of articles, resources, all sorts of stuff on there for free. And then we have, what else?
Instagram.
Oh, our Instagram is at
TikTok.
Ultimate Intimacy app. We just started TikTok. I was hesitant, but I did it. And
those are good though.
Blowing up.
I think my 5th video got like 1 million views, and that's when I realized how bad marriages are struggling.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, I had no idea. So anyways, we're on at Ultimate Intimacy on there, and you can just email us also at amy@ultimateintimacy.com with any questions. Yeah,
we answer everything personally.
Yep, we do.
Good for you guys.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for joining us again, and we'll do it again soon, hopefully.
Our pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.